Alright, welcome back to Metal Gear Part 2. When we last left off, a lot of bullshit was happening. That doesn't seem quite possible. And hopefully Ishmael isn't dead? Was he all in our imagination? Is that 8 miniguns on that thing? That's overkill. So, he summoned a whale of fire to eat the helicopter, and Talia, what the fuck?
Get on! I'm on your side! Hurry! Hurry! Hang on! Use this! Watch our backs! Shoot it!
I was supposed to be shooting it more, I just wanted him to get closer. The shotgun. Just as he's about to attack.
You get him?
Probably not.
We shook him off. Now, and let me guess, he knocked us into the home of the water guy. This is getting a little ridiculous.
Codename Chick. Okay. Replaying the cutscene? Okay, we're replaying the cutscene.
Come on.
How many people did that kill?
The name's Ocelot. Big boss. You know who I am. A certain man gave me a job to do. Two, actually. First was to get you out of that hospital. The second was to rescue the man himself.
You don't seem very Russian.
You remember?
You're supposed to be Russian, right?
Your partner, 9 years ago, Kazuhira Miller. 9 years back, your private army came under attack by Cypher. You were considered dead. Until today, that is, when Cypher found you. And it's not just them. The whole world wants you dead. You'll have to join up with Miller. Build that private army of yours one more time. It's your only chance. First, we need to save Miller. He's in Afghanistan.
Afghanistan.
What, you can't keep up with world affairs in a coma? 4 years ago, the Soviets invaded Afghanistan. The Muslims are fighting back with Western support. Miller was training Mujahideen rebels when he was captured by the Soviets. The Reds' 40th Army. Troop strength somewhere around 100,000. The squad holding Miller set off near the Pakistan border yesterday. Now, in 3 days, they'll reach the Soviet garrison. They'll be interrogated for a few more days, and it's off to a lager. Or left to rot in a ditch on Afghan soil. I give him 2 weeks. The job didn't mean anything to Miller. He only took it on to keep you safe. Well, there's our ride. It's a whaling ship. Had a pretty good deal on her once the IWC started raising a stink. Now it's 7 days to Port Qasim, another 3 overland. So we won't have much time once we're there. Don't take too long getting used to your new self. Hang on. Ha!
So at what point do I get my bionic arm? Over the next 10 days? Probably the 7 on the ship, maybe? Glad to see they didn't actually cut Kojima's name out of this. I had heard a lot of rumors. But I think I've seen his name like 20 times now, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. Is that an e-cig? Or, not an e-cig, but... Or maybe, I don't know, I'm not familiar with fake smoking paraphernalia. It did not look real. Oh, wow, this looks so good. Made all the difference when I turned it on all the NVIDIA recommended settings. Excuse me.
The area ahead is under total Soviet control. Miller's been captive for 10 days. Not much time left.
Weather will clear shortly.
Storm's passing.
Punished venom snake.
Getting used to it?
I don't like that he's basically been a silent protagonist so far. I don't have a lot of experience with Metal Gear games, other than Rising, but Raiden talked a lot to Rising. You'd think someone who's been in a
9 years
coma...
on ice.
9 years would have
Solo
questions, want to
infiltration
talk.
of the Soviet main ground forces. Should be the perfect one. Kazuhira Miller is being held in Dawandehar to the north. Check its location now. Take out your iDroid. You see Wandy on the map? That's where they're keeping Miller. Only problem is, we don't know his exact location. Finding it is your first priority.
So we are there.
Go ahead and close the iDroid.
Got your binoculars? Or should I say your int scope?
See the village? Straight ahead? To the right. Look up. A little to the left.
Okay.
All right, that's the village. If you see something through the binoculars and you need more information, just give me a call. I'll tell you anything I can about it. That's Violo Village, the Violo Calais.
The villagers fled the war and evacuated a while back. Since then, it's become a base for the Soviets' 40th Army.
A few days ago, Miller was taken through there, en route towards Dawandehar. You may be able to pick up the trail there. It's worth a shot.
Do you have something
Put a
to say about
marker on it
yourself?
so you don't lose track of where it is.
Marker
Good.
placed.
Now you won't have to worry about getting lost along the way.
You can't have much left in him. I give him 3 days, tops. If we fail, and he dies, we lose our chance of revenge. But we need more intel. If you just go charging into Dawandehar, you'll be putting both your lives at risk. See what you can find out first. The Soviets have other outposts, not just the one you saw. Afghanistan is a big place. I expect you'll become quite familiar with those binoculars as you plan your next move. How and where you make it.
I think
Well,
he's
that's up to
already
you.
said way more Ground Zeroes
From
than he
here
did
on
in
out.
this.
You're on your own.
No, don't leave yet. I want to see what happened if you try to tag him
You're
with
a
the
legend in
binoculars.
the eyes of those who live on the battlefield. That's why you have to handle this mission yourself. Put those 9 years behind you, and return as Big Boss. That's how Koss would want it. I'll be sending additional intel by radio. Stay sharp. Not one of Miller's bodyguards survived. And they were good. All we found on the scene were their corpses and knees. You'll be missing them. And you're his only hope of getting them back.
Is that shrapnel sticking in? Oh my god, that's shrapnel.
Now go! Let the legend come back to life.
Don't just leave for me. I want to try the binoculars thing. God damn it.
Whoa!
Small little
Marker
village.
placed.
Maybe I can go there and squeeze a little intel out of people. That feels pretty good. What do I got? Sleepy pistol, hand grenade. How do I equip the bionic arm?
Caution.
You're heading outside the mission area.
Really?
Caution. You are about to leave the mission area.
Whoa!
Marker removed.
Yeah!
I saw a path up here. Man, the horse handles this really well. Like in a lot of horse games like Red Dead Redemption, if you try and go down something like that, the horse just like, no. This village is what we're checking out. How do I get off horse? That's it, get off horse, okay.
You're almost at the enemy outpost, Vialo Village. The village is crawling with enemy soldiers. Don't just go waltzing in. Start with some recon. Is there anywhere that overlooks the village?
If I can get in this building, I'm willing to gamble going in the building.
materials are already processed. They should come in handy sooner or later. Why not start gathering them? That's a rough diamond. Good find. It'll fetch a high price.
Really? Did he just kind of go into the merchant
Extraction
voice?
arrived at Mother Base.
It's up to you whether to slip by enemies or take them down. Just remember that any situation can change fast. Familiarize yourself with your weapons and items while you can. You need to be able to switch between them quickly to meet any threat. Hiding on horseback allows you to stay out of sight even while on the move. It's effective for avoiding enemy guard posts and long-range reconnaissance patrols. How about it? Can you see the village from there? Use the binoculars to recon the place.
I will do that.
Look at where the enemies are stationed. Look at their gear. Take it all in. There should be a command post somewhere. See any buildings with tighter security? If there are clues to Miller's whereabouts, I'll bet you can find them in there. Not a civilian in sight. The Soviets have taken complete control of the place. Sight, sound, keep all your enemy senses in mind. When you're near an enemy, stay low and move slowly. If you stand up and run around, you'll make it easier for them to spot you. It's a heavy machine gun. Packs far more power than any rifle. You can either use it yourself or destroy it. Either way, best keep in mind some way to deal with it.
There doesn't seem to be that many people here.
You can use your prosthetic arm to make a knocking sound anywhere and lure the enemy. You can also select empty magazines to throw from among your support weapons. A dumpster. Looks big enough to hide somebody. You could stash a downed enemy in there, or hide in it yourself. Just don't stand too close to me afterward.
The mic's picking something up. I can only see two guys, and that's kind of worrisome. Let's see.
Press up against obstacles like walls to hide from the enemy and protect yourselves from attack. This is taking cover. Whenever the enemy is nearby, your first thought should be to take cover. Sticking to cover lets you get a bead on the enemy from a safe position. Know where you're gonna shoot before you stick your head out.
Squeeze this guy for a little intel. Deal with this gun. Some pretty bad security. Yes.
Talk.
Boss, you don't understand what he said? I guess that makes sense. It looks like that horn stuck in your head has impacted the language center of your brain. If only we had a recruit with the Russian interpreter skill, we could get by with simultaneous interpretation.
Wow.
Where are your friends?
Я не понимаю! Не понимаю!
Shit, shit, shit.
Don't leave bodies out in the open. Find some place to drop them out of sight. A dumpster. Looks big enough to hide somebody. You could stash a downed enemy in there, or hide in it yourself. Just don't stand too close to me afterward.
Okay, I feel much better for finding that now. Wish I could find some place I think I could climb on top of.
Sun will set.
Sun's down already. It goes without saying that darkness is good for infiltration. But your vision will be affected just the same. Keep your guard up, or who knows when you'll bump into an enemy.
Come on.
A Soviet soldier of the 40th Army.
Shit. Which way around are you going? Well, shit. Yep, just like grand zeros. Sorry, buddy. What is this now? Generator?
Всем боевым группам, это КП. Вышел из строя целый ряд ламп. Похоже на проблемы с электроэнергией. Ближайший патруль. Проверить здесь питание.
Let's see if we can use that distraction.
КП, Дмитрий 9. Трансляцию немедленно. Конец связи.
That guy is going to be a problem.
When targeting an enemy from a distance, keep the effective range of your weapon in mind. If the weapon's reticle is white, that means you're outside its effective range. If you decide to fire anyway, take into account how gravity will make the bullet drop. Until you get a feel for that, you might want to approach the enemy until the reticle turns red, and then fire.
Как думаешь, сколько еще будет длиться эта война?
I don't know Russian.
Или они продолжают появляться? Думаю, помогать империалисты с целью.
КП, Дмитрий-9. Все проверил. Ничего необычного. Прием. Это КП. Понял. Двигайтесь на пост. Прием.
Что такое? Солдат упал!
Shit. Shit.
A parabolic antenna. There could be intel files of some kind in there.
I gotta hurry, those sleep darts don't last forever. Got a dog dish. Gotta keep an eye out for those now.
Is that?
You have arrived at your destination.
So you picked up an intel file.
Extraction.
Now we know where Miller is.
Base.
I'm marking it on your iDroid.
The map has been updated.
I'll stop by in that
Marker
village
placed.
first. Now let me see, how do I mess with cassette tapes?
Snake, I wanted to ask you about the man on fire. What do you remember from the hospital? Anything we can use?
Well, he took off the moment the sprinklers started up.
Sprinklers? The fire system?
And when he got sprayed with water from the burst pipe, it slowed him down.
When we escaped on horseback, he wouldn't cross the river either.
And then it started to rain. And he disappeared.
Water against fire. Is it that simple? I mean, it makes sense. It's just hard to believe it would work on a guy like that.
Okay. Don't just... Let's fuck with their power before we leave, that'll be funny.
Всем боевым группам, это КП. Вышел из строя целый ряд ламп. Похоже на проблемы с электроэнергией. Ближайший патруль. Проверить здесь питание. КП, это Дмитрий А. Немедленно проверю. Конец связи.
hospitalized in Dekelia, a British sovereign base area on Cyprus. It's part of British overseas territory that falls outside of Cypriot jurisdiction. You got moved from Cuba's Little America.
Planning to walk the whole wilderness on foot?
Why Dekelia?
Use your horse.
U.S. remain close allies. The last place Cypher would think to look for you is inside their own system. That's what kept you safe in British military hospital for 9 years. The safest place from a whale is inside its own belly. You were a regular Geppetto.
Well, it wasn't Pinocchio who led me out to safety. So who was that guy?
Cypher went so far as to attack British territory, burning their own ally. That's how badly they wanted you dead.
He said I was in a British military hospital. But the doctor had a Greek accent.
They hire locally. Easier to trust them. Dekelia is also home to Greek Cypriots, after all.
What about the Turks? They haven't returned to the south.
Not yet. The Cyprus dispute is still a long way from resolved. The country is just as split as it was in '74. Turkish Cypriots in the north, Greek Cypriots in the south. Between them, the Green Line, the UN established.
And Dekelia sits right on top of it.
It does. Part of the buffer zone between the two groups. Another reason it was the perfect place to hide you. Easy to spot any outsiders snooping around.
So how do things stand?
Now, last year, the Turks declared that the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus is an independent state, though it's only Turkey that recognizes it. In the past, the Greeks and Turks lived side by side in the
Anytime you need advice, just give me a call.
Those came from the outside. Greece, Turkey, Britain, America, they all had their own stake in pitting the two sides against each other. But once you spark something like this, it's impossible to control. Both sides build up grudges like debt, without the foresight to see that each act of revenge just fans the flames, and then it's too late for other nations to rush in with peace talks. The embers keep on smoldering. Each nation's arrogance only breeds anarchy. The world is paralyzed by this hunger for revenge. Cyprus is no different.
It's an enemy guard post. Watch yourself.
I like these tapes. These are a nice touch. And I like that you can listen to them while you play. I don't think you could do that in Ground Zeroes.
You're up.
We're changing ships?
We can't go sailing the Suez in a whaler.
The Suez Canal. When did they reopen it?
Not long after you were attacked. Once they finished sweeping it for mines after the Arab-Israeli conflict. Can you stand? We've got to transfer to a container ship for passage through the Suez. Our destination is Pakistan, Afghanistan's neighbor to the south. There we disembark and head via Peshawar to the Zero Line, the border. We'll travel to the Khyber Pass by road.
And then?
We continue on horseback. Afghanistan's main roads are under Soviet control. We'll need to go around them. It'll be all narrow, winding paths through the mountains. We'll do better on horseback. It's a local guerrilla tactic. They use the higher ridges to avoid air recons. Then they charge down the mountains for ambushes. The Soviets still haven't devised a counter-strategy. Our time frame is only half as much as we really need. It's gonna be a tough march.
Better horses than boats.
Well, it'll make for good physiotherapy. Take the time to get used to that new arm.
While the Soviets have indicated they are not participating in the Los Angeles Olympics, primarily because the United States has made no attempt to guarantee the safety of the Soviet Union's athletes, the United States is increasingly demonstrating the belief that the issue has nothing to do with its preparations, and in fact this is retaliation for the Western nations' boycott of the previous Moscow Olympics. That concludes today's news.
That's quite some news.
The Soviet Union not attending the LA Olympics? Yeah. Andropov's death has changed some things. They're calling it revenge for the Western boycott of the Moscow Olympics.
Countries boycotted the Moscow Olympics?
Yes. In protest of the Soviet Union's invasion of Afghanistan. Over 50 countries were absent. It's too bad I didn't get to see Yamashita's judo. When the 40th Army crossed the Amu River 4 years ago, détente went right out the window. The U.S. Congress chose not to ratify SALT II. And Reagan's hardline politics won him the presidency in a landslide. According to him, the Soviet Union's an evil empire.
The Second Cold War.
And there's been no end to regional conflicts and civil wars. Lebanon, the Falklands, Grenada, Iran, Iraq. The story never changes. Egypt and Israel did sign a peace treaty. But then the driving force on the Egyptian side, President Sadat, was assassinated afterward. Apparently, his actions were considered a betrayal of his fellow Arabs.
Islamic extremists?
Yes, fundamentalist extremists have been responsible for some bold acts of terrorism in recent years. We've had extremist students in Iran take U.S. embassy workers hostage, and suicide bombings in Lebanon. Foreign soldiers stationed there have been killed. The countries have yet to develop an effective means of dealing with terrorism. Afraid of losing their own men, they pulled their forces out, handing private forces a golden opportunity. Private forces, small armies with no national affiliation, working for the highest bidder. That's right, they got the idea from you. After Mother Base went down, they began spreading to meet the soaring demand. Miller's organization is just one of many PFs now. The entire world is after you, but at the same time, it needs you too. Miller told me about what happened in the Caribbean 9 years ago. You do remember. You'd formed a private army with him, an army with no allegiance to a nation.
I remember, but...
I see. You're not sure what's fact and what's a fantasy caused by the coma. It's still all a mess, huh? All I can do is tell you the facts as they were told to me. I've gone easy on you up until now, but this is where the hard stuff begins. 1974, the year before you entered your coma. You were in Colombia, operating with a small unit of men, basically mercenaries. Miller was among them. Miller was trying to find a way to turn his and your talents into a line of work. He was looking to start a business where you would fight on behalf of others around the world, those who needed military force. But the reality was, at that time, you didn't have enough gear to equip your own men. Then Miller came across this client. It was a huge job he was offering, but you had a shot at pulling it off. You accepted it and headed into Costa Rica. The client even threw in an offshore facility in the Caribbean. The Mother Base. That would be your new base of operations. Miller sure did have a head for business.
Portable toilet.
As your mission...
If you're gonna hide inside, watch the enemy doesn't decide to use it. Same goes for hiding downed enemies in it.
300 men. As the organization got bigger, your military powers swelled to match. It got so the international community couldn't afford to ignore you. You were just too damn successful for your own good. You, your men, had worn out your welcome. Everyone was out for you. East, West, First World, Third. It was only a matter of time before someone took you down. And that was XOF. Officially, they're an anti-terror unit under the CIA. In reality, they're Cypher's private strike force. They lured you to Cuba using Chico, the Nicaraguan revolutionary kid, and Paz, a mole who worked for Cypher as bait. While you were gone, XOF, posing as a nuclear inspection team, stormed Mother Base. At the same time, C4 they placed on the strut legs went off. The whole thing went down in minutes. XOF. Kisses and hugs followed by a big FU. All because of Miller's blind spot. A back door into Mother Base no one suspected. You remember a certain scientist. Huey was responsible for bringing the inspection team on board, giving the enemy a perfect opportunity to hit you at home. You were returning from Cuba when it happened. Mother Base came damn close to taking you with it into the Caribbean. Those of your men out on assignment returned right away. They refused to believe the wreckage in the water they found was Mother Base. But they checked the coordinates again and again, until reality finally settled in. You were supposed to die that day. That was XOF's primary objective. As far as most folks know, you did. The first doctor to see you wasn't even sure what he was looking at. Before they'd even finished operating, your men moved you to that hospital in Cyprus. There was a woman named Eva who arranged that. Rings a bell, huh? Most men in your condition would have been written off right from the start. But you survived. You went straight down to hell, and they pulled you out. Your eye wide open. Full of venom. The days of Naked Snake are long gone. Welcome back, Venom Snake. This world still needs you. Here, Snake, try this on.
A prosthetic arm.
Yeah, Miller was calling it the arm that wasn't there. The physiotherapy's going well. Your arm's bulked up enough for it to fit. There. Perfect. A little time with it, and it'll work better than the real thing. What do you think?
I can still feel my real arm.
Well, you better get used to this one quick. You have any pain?
Every now and then.
Where?
My fingertips. My left fingertips.
Sounds like phantom pain. Your brain still remembers your old hand.
Yeah.
What about your vision? Can you see okay?
Yeah, at the moment.
Now, the shrapnel in your skull is pressing on your optic nerve. I'm told any hard impact could have an effect on your visual cortex.
Yeah, the doctor mentioned that.
Your brain might process visual information incorrectly. In other words, you could have hallucinations. You might see things that aren't there, and not see things as they really are. You experienced any of that?
I think so.
When?
Right after I wake up. Colors look faded.
Colors, huh? Well, that's not a major concern in and of itself, but it could mean the difference between life and death in the field. You'll need to watch out for that.
I will.
All right. You should continue your physio. We'll be arriving soon. It's the last chance you'll get.
Well, that was a lot of tapes. Interesting, though.
You have arrived at your destination.
Can I mess with this? Nope. Maybe there's something up for me in that tower. You'd think they'd have someone stationed in here.
Marker placed.
I wonder if it'll let me get that far. Come on now.
Extraction arrived at database.
I wish I had the thing that lets you extract stuff, because I've heard there's a part where you can extract wildlife, and that sounds funny. Oh, come on. Don't worry.
Boss, there's no time for recreational hunting. Focus on the mission.
Oh, it just despawned right away. Okay. Oh goody, it's gonna be like Skyrim now.
That's a type of medicinal plant. Bring it back to base. It's a Soviet communications post. If you don't want the enemy to spot you, stay as low as possible. Sticking to walls is also a good idea. Take a look at the map on your iDroid and use the positions of marked enemies to help you plan an infiltration route. A Soviet soldier. A lot of them came from Central Asia before, but lately they've been using more and more Russians. Simple, really. There's less hesitation to pull the trigger if they're not fighting their own race. Morbid cynicism, but it gets results. That's humanity for you.
Come on, tell me about that.
You know where you're headed, boss? If you place a marker on the map, you can keep track of where you want to go, even when the map's closed.
See, I feel kind of lied to by Ground Zeroes. And Ground Zeroes, like half the things in that game, you could tag and your support would have something to say about it. So in this one. Come on, tag him. Thank you.
The principle of infiltration is hiding your entire presence. That includes not making any unnecessary noise. When you want to move quietly, walk slowly or crawl.
Wasn't there two guys over here? This is turning out great.
Контакт, условие 10. Один из наших лежит без сознания. Прием! Это КП, понял. Возможно, это вражеское нападение. Всем быть начеку. Конец связи.
Lights.
Всем боевым группам, это КП. Вышел из строя целый ряд ламп. Похоже на проблемы с электроэнергией. Ближайший патруль. Проверить сеть питания.
Контакт! Открыть огонь!
Shit.
Всем боевым группам, это КП. На нас напали. Всем подразделениям занять боевые позиции.
Suppressor's no longer effective. Bear in mind your weapon will be loud from now on.
They're gonna mortar strike again. Okay, I need to not be killing so much.
Outpost captured.
Oh good, I got some heroism back. I didn't enjoy having to kill those guys. Is this intel stuff? Can I... So much for capturing the base. Come on, fall asleep, fall asleep.
You have arrived at your destination.
So there's something in here. Guess I got what I could. Well. Okay, so this is my mission zone. So I could go to...
Marker placed.
Anyway, I think that's a comfortable place to end this episode. I'll see you next time.